Hi, I'm Chuck Dorsett for Weaver Leathercraft, and this is the Leather Element. If you've got a good question for us or a good idea for a leather element, drop it in the comment box below. We're going to talk about the Weaver 303. Sales pitch? Absolutely. But let's do this. Let's take our sales pitch and our script and throw those out the window, because I have come to love this machine quickly. I don't have a lot of table time. I don't have a lot of experience on a machine. Right here, we don't need it. Easy to operate, easy to maintain. So if you're thinking about jumping into the garment or upholstery end, this is absolutely the way to go. Here's a couple of big points. First off, Weaver, total quality. But secondly, we've got a servo motor on this. That means we can get our stitch speed down to about 1 stitch per second. Any one of us, experienced or not, can operate that, and we're comfortable with it. So let's do this. We're going to look at every aspect of this machine. But let's start over here, because at Weaver, we've absolutely packed your box full of extras. Let's look to our owner's manual for all of the specifics, but we get some great extras here. Let's just do a quick overview. Cotton gloves, keep our hands clean while we work on the machine. Tool pouch, we're going to get a full bottle of our Lily machine oil. I love this oil, but this is going to fill our oil pan. We get an extra small bottle to hit the points the internal lubricant is not. Nippers, 3 sizes of screwdrivers. And look at this, we don't get a small spool of thread. It's Weaver. This is what we expect. This is a size 92. Needles, same situation. We don't get one in the machine. We're going to get 2 packs, 2 sizes. 5 bobbins. In fact, a pair of tweezers. What a nice extra is that? Now, this is the coolest thing, and I love this. We get an LED light that's got a magnetic strip on the back. So we can drop this just about anywhere we want on our machine. I tend to like to keep it right there next to my sewing. Now, the last and most important point. This is our flywheel guard. This needs to be installed. An errant thread or an errant piece of clothing and disaster will immediately follow. So let's make sure we install this. I've got it off now simply so we can get a better look. All right, let's take a quick peek at assembly. Our 303 is going to come to us virtually ready to sew. We're basically just going to bolt pieces and parts onto our table. Our treadle set and ready, same with our motor. But as always, let's go to our owner's manual for a step-by-step, but let's cover some high points. We're going to drop in our thread stand, assemble and drop that in. Same with our bobbin winder. Down here we've got our knee lift, 2 bolts to apply, fully adjustable. On our machine head, we've got an oil pan. We're going to drop that in first, fill that with oil, and on the back of our machine, we've got 2 hinges. They're going to fit into slots, so therefore we can check our oil or look under the hood if we need to. Now, one point. This seems like a small point, but it's a valid point. Our light. This will plug right into our servo motor. It's a 110 outlet, and we've got a switch over there. For me, I don't want to plug that into an external source and turn it on and off for the simple reason the machine makes absolutely no noise. Notice it's on. We can't hear a thing. So therefore, if the light's on, the machine's on. That keeps me from making a major mistake. Now, on our flywheel guard, this piece is going to sit on top. My best advice, let's add a little glue to these 4 nuts. That's going to make our life a whole lot easier when we assemble that. So again, for the most part, we're ready to sew. So let's look at threading our machine. Our 303 is going to come to us threaded, ready to go. All we have to do is tie a knot in the end of the thread from our thread stand and pull that through our machine. Now we'll have to take our knot out when we get to our needle, but at that point, we're home free. But let's run through this. So we're going to come from our thread stand. We're going to do a double loop on our top guide. That sends us direct to the second guide in front of our top tension knob. We're going to loop that once into our tension knob. Now let's make sure we pull that thread down in between these two, the tension plates. That's what's going to give us tension. We've got a small eye here. Let's exit from that. That puts us line drive straight to our lower or main tension knob. Let's drop that thread in between our plates there. Now, a little bit hard to see. I can't get much of a better shot here, but right here we've got a guide. We're going to come from our tension plates up through that guide, back down, right here, big hook, easy to see. Let's go under that hook. So thus far, easy enough. There's our tension. From here, we're going to go through a guide. This is called our take-up arm. This is going to move up and down as we sew. So we're going to go through that, back down to another guide. Easy enough there. Right here, we've got a lower guide and a guide right at the bottom of our needle bar, right at the top of our needle. We're going to come through that. The last step, we're going to come through our needle, through the eye in our needle, from the outside in. That's all we have to do. There we go. Look at that speed. Any one of us can sew with that speed. Nice. Let's look at our bobbin. Let's start here. Let's wind a bobbin. Now, the instruction manual is going to tell us to bolt our bobbin winder onto our table so that we have between 1/4 and 1/8 of an inch between pulley and belt. Therefore, easy enough to engage. Now, on the bobbin, let's come from our thread stand. We're going to go through our tension plates, through this guide eye, and I'm going to give this about 5, maybe 6 inches past my knob. Now, on this knob, there's a small hole here. That's going to come into play very shortly. Let's take a bobbin, drop that on the post. Now, from the bottom, let's wind this 2 or 3 passes, and now let's go through that small hole. All we have to do, let's engage and sew. So easy enough. Now, my machine is set at a very slow speed, just as an example. What I can do is on my servo motor, I can turn my speed up to wind my bobbins. We can always wind our bobbin while we sew, but I tend to like to give this my full concentration. That way I'm going to get a good wind every time. Let's bump up our speed, then we're going to jump over and see how we insert our bobbin. And there we are. When our bobbin's full, this will kick off. So let's drop our bobbin in our bobbin case. If you're new to sewing with an industrial machine or you want to get into the garment and upholstery weight, the bobbin can seem very confusing. Actually, it's a breeze. You'll see exactly what I mean. But right off the bat, we've got a problem. Our light's on. Therefore, our machine is on. Now, my belts are slack. But nonetheless, if I hit my treadle, we very likely will sew. So let's start here. Let's turn our machine off. And we want our needle in an up position. Right here is our bobbin case. You can see it moves freely. Across the middle of that, we've got a bar with a tab on this end. Notice that tab points right at us when we're sewing. So let's lift that tab, and our bobbin case comes right out. So let's drop out our empty bobbin. Now, when we insert our new bobbin, our wound bobbin, I'm going to insert this to where the thread is counterclockwise. In other words, it comes off of the top of the bobbin away from me when I'm sewing. So let's do this. We've got a small cut right there. I'm going to hold my bobbin with my finger. And let's pull that thread around to where it sits down in that cut. One more step. Let's pull that taut. There we go. Notice how it seats right down in that small eye. Let's insert this back in. That line or that bar straight towards us. There we go. Clicks right in. It's as easy as that. Now, we don't need to feed this thread up through our bottom plate because all we have to do, and I'm going to grab my top thread, hold that taut. I'm going to progress the flywheel just with my hand. And there we go. There's our bobbin thread. It's as easy as that. All right, let's do some sewing. Let's start right here. It's a good close-up pic of our servo motor. Right up front, there's our speed control. Easy to see, easy to get to. Now, I've got our speed set at the lowest setting. We're going to see how slow we can sew because those of us with little or no experience, that's going to be an easy speed to control. This is our reverse lever. We want to engage this when our needle is at its lowest point, and here's our stitch length. We press in this tab and we can go up or down. I'm set at about 5 stitches per inch. Behind us, we have a lift, and down here, our knee lift. Our thread comes with a machine that's a 92, and our needle, same thing, comes with a machine that's a 135 by 16D. Now, when we're going to sew, let's grab both pieces of thread, both our bobbin and our top thread, and we're going to hold those taut. We're going to sew on a piece of our Lexi. I love this leather. How easy is that? Now, let's slow that down a little bit. Look at that. Any one of us can control that speed. So let's get one more in. We're in our down position. Let's drop our reverse lever and back stitch. How easy is that? It's a very simple machine to operate. And the speed, that's the one thing I love most. All right, let's look at some odds and ends. Our 303 comes with an internal oil pump. That's going to lubricate everything inside, but we've got some exterior moving parts. So we have 5 oil ports we're going to look for. We get a bottle. Comes with our 303. So let's hit 1, 2, 3, 4, and right there is 5. That's going to cover us on the outside. Now, I love the Lily stitching oil. I keep this in my shop, and we also have larger application bottles. Now, right here, if we get a little too much of a footprint, we can back off on our foot pressure. Our guide's going to show us that. Secondly, on our bobbin, if we want to back off on the tension or add to that, we rarely need to, but we've got a great chart, top and bottom tension, and exactly what we're looking for. Well, I hope this is a good representation of the 303. It's a machine I've come to love quickly. For those of us with little or no experience, it's the perfect route. Easy to maintain, easy to operate. That's what I'm looking for. Let's add a good owner's manual in there, and it's perfect. But it's Weaver. That's exactly what I expect. I hope this is good information for you. Thanks for taking time to watch The Leather Element. Good luck with your projects.